Okay, so let's just unpack this right out of the gate. Welcome to today's deep dive. I'm your host, and I want you to just look at the calendar for a second.
Glad to be here. And yeah, it is late February.
Right, late February 2026. And if you are feeling a very specific, heavy sort of pressure right now, like the walls are closing in just a little bit.
You are definitely not alone.
Exactly. I was reading through the sources we pulled for today, and honestly, I felt seen, but I also felt a little bit attacked.
Attacked is a strong word, but I completely get it. The energy right now is not subtle at all.
It really isn't. We are staring down the barrel of March, and according to the main document we're analyzing today, it's called the Great Release March 2026 Cosmic Energy Forecast.
A very sitting title.
Yeah, and it says, this isn't just about flipping a page in your planner. The text calls this upcoming month a cosmic threshold, which sounds, no, it sounds big
Mm.
and maybe slightly ominous.
It is big. I mean, think of a threshold, right? It's a doorway. You're leaving one room and you are entering another. But the catch here, and this is really the core mission of our deep dive today, is that the doorway is narrow.
Right.
You cannot walk through it carrying everything you are currently holding on to.
I love that visual, even if it stresses me out immensely. So the luggage basically has to go.
Exactly. The universe is effectively handing out eviction notices this month.
Eviction notices. See, that is the exact phrase that jumped out at me in the notes. It's so aggressive. It implies we don't really have a choice in the matter. Like it's not a polite request to just declutter your closet.
No, it is definitely not a suggestion. That's the whole nature of the astrology we're looking at right now.
Hmm.
This is a mandate to strip away the parts of your life, your personality, the habits that are essentially fake
Hmm.
or just totally outdated.
So things we've outgrown but are still trying to squeeze ourselves into.
Precisely. The goal for us today is to help you figure out exactly what those eviction notices say for you personally. Because apparently to survive the massive energy shifts happening in March 2026, we have to travel light.
Okay, so before we get into the specific eviction notices for the different signs, which are honestly fascinating and a little bit rude, we have to look at the cosmic weather report.
We do. Context is everything.
Why is March 2026 so heavy? Like, what is actually happening up there to cause this huge threshold?
Well, we have to start with the headline event. We are currently navigating the wake of a Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries.
Okay, pause right there. Saturn-Neptune conjunction. For those of us who don't speak fluent astrology and usually just look up at the stars and say, oh, pretty, could we break that down?
Of course.
Why is that specifically a big deal?
It's a huge deal because it's incredibly rare. We haven't seen this specific planetary setup in over 36 years.
Wow, over 3 decades.
Yeah, and you really have to look at the players involved here. Saturn is essentially the taskmaster of the zodiac. It represents structure, reality, boundaries, cold, hard facts. It's the wall.
Okay, so Saturn is the strict principle.
Exactly, the enforcer. Now smash him into Neptune. Neptune is the planet of dreams, illusions, fog, spirituality. It's the rose-colored glasses.
So we have the solid wall and the thick fog colliding.
Right. And when you force these two completely opposite forces together, you get a very specific chemical reaction, the absolute dismantling of illusions.
Okay, so Saturn is basically turning on the fluorescent lights in the club at 3 a.m.
That is the perfect analogy. Yes.
Yeah.
The music stops, the glaring lights come on, and suddenly you see everything.
The sticky floors.
The sticky floor, the spilled drinks, the people who maybe aren't actually as charming as they looked in the dark. It demands radical authenticity. The universe is basically saying, I'm going to show you what is actually real, whether you want to see it or not.
That sounds really sobering.
It is sobering, but it's necessary, right? You can't build a stable new life on a foundation of fog. And that sets the stage for the first half of March, which looks, well, it looks loud.
Loud is putting it mildly. I'm looking at the timeline here in the forecast, March 3rd.
Ah, yes, March 3rd, the total lunar eclipse in Virgo. The forecast literally calls this the blood moon moment.
Which totally sounds like the title of a horror movie. Should we be scared of this?
It can feel like a horror movie if you're resisting the energy. Virgo is the sign of analysis, details, order. A blood moon happening there is like taking a high-powered spotlight and shining it directly into the messiest drawer in your house.
Oh, no.
It's for clearing mental clutter, it demands radical honesty, and it highlights absolutely everything that is inefficient or broken in your life.
And just to make it even more fun, while we're staring at all our broken systems under this harsh spotlight, we're also dealing with Mercury retrograde until the 21st.
We are indeed. So the lights are on, you see the massive mess, but you can't quite fix it yet because communication is super foggy and technology is glitching left and right.
That sounds incredibly frustrating. It's like, hey, here's the glaring problem, but sorry, you can't solve it right now.
It is supposed to be frustrating. It forces you to stop charging forward. You aren't supposed to be building anything new yet. You are supposed to be deep in the Great Release. You're in the demolition phase.
But there is a turning point, right? Please tell me we aren't just stuck in cosmic demolition forever.
We aren't. You need to mark March 20th and 21st on your mental calendar.
Okay, the 20th and 21st.
Yes. The sun enters Aries, which is the astrological new year, and then immediately Mercury stations direct. The fog finally lifts. Stability actually returns.
Okay, so we just have to white-knuckle it until the 20th.
Well, no, that's the trap. You only get to enjoy that stability if you actually did the hard work during the messy part. You have to evict the old tenants before you can renovate the building.
Right, you can't just ignore the mess and hope it goes away.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the specifics. The source material breaks these eviction notices down by zodiac sign, but I really like how they're grouped by theme in our notes.
It makes a lot of sense that way.
Yeah, it makes it much easier to understand the psychology behind the astrology. I want to start with the Earth and Structure group. So this is Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn.
This triad is all about how we handle the material world. It's about control, security, and competence.
Let's start with Virgo, since they are the ones hosting that intense blood moon eclipse on the 3rd. What exactly is the universe evicting from Virgo's life?
Perfectionism and micromanagement.
I feel like every Virgo listening just stiffened up in their car. Like, but who will manage the details if I don't?
Exactly. That's their primary safety mechanism. But with the eclipse hitting them, that safety mechanism is becoming a cage. The eviction notice is telling them that they absolutely cannot micromanage their way to peace.
They really try, though.
Yeah. They do, but the universe is literally going to make things messy this month just to prove to them that the world doesn't end when things are a little disorganized.
The source makes a really interesting distinction here, actually. It suggests that Virgos need to break their goals down into essential versus excessive.
Right. Because a Virgo will often treat everything as essential. Reorganizing the spice rack alphabetically is suddenly treated with the exact same physiological urgency as a major work deadline.
I have seen that happen. It's exhausting to watch, let alone to actually live that way.
It is. So the release here is admitting that you don't have to hold the entire world together by yourself. It's about trusting the process rather than trying to strangle it.
That leads really well into our next sign, Taurus. Venus enters Taurus at the end of the month on the 31st, but the real work starts now. Their eviction notice is for the scarcity mindset.
This is a massive one for the culture right now, generally speaking. Not just for Taurus, but Taurus feels it deep in their bones. Taurus craves security above almost everything else. But that often morphs into this deep-seated fear that there just isn't enough.
Right. Not enough money, not enough time, not enough comfort.
Exactly. So they hoard resources, or they hoard their energy. They constantly brace themselves against disaster. They hold on really tight. The shift the universe is demanding here is profound. It's asking them to start viewing pleasure as a standard, not a luxury.
Pleasure is a standard. That sounds really nice, but isn't that a bit impractical? I mean, we all have bills to pay.
It's not about spending money you don't have on lavish spa days. It's about the internal pace of your life. The forecast suggestion here is adopting a slow living routine.
How does that work?
Well, if you are rushing through your morning coffee just to get to the next stressor, you are reinforcing the signal of scarcity to your brain. You're telling your body, we're in danger, we have to hurry. But if you actually sit and enjoy it, you signal abundance. You have to convince your own nervous system that you are safe.
So it's fundamentally a nervous system reset. That makes a lot of sense. Now, what about the third Earth sign, Capricorn? Saturn, which is their ruler, is currently swimming in Pisces. What is their eviction notice?
Emotional suppression.
Oh boy, the classic Capricorn armor.
Exactly. They feel they have to be the Mount Right, completely unshakable and stoic. But with Saturn in watery emotional Pisces, that armor is rusting out. The universe is saying drop the stoic mask. The eviction notice is for the outdated idea that having feelings makes you weak.
The text specifically mentions doing an emotional inventory via journaling prompts.
Which a Capricorn might completely roll their eyes at. They'll say journaling isn't real work. It's not productive.
Right. They'll ask, how does writing about my feelings maximize my return on investment?
Exactly. But the key insight here is that unprocessed emotion is actually a structural weakness. If you don't process the heavy stuff, the mountain will eventually crumble from the inside out. Sharing your doubts actually creates structural integrity.
Okay, let's pivot to the next group. This theme feels a bit softer on the surface, but maybe sharper in a different way. It's all about relational baggage. We're looking at the water and air signs here. Cancer, Pisces, Libra, and Gemini. This is really about how we connect with other people.
And specifically where we tend to lose ourselves in those connections.
Let's look at Cancer first. Jupiter is moving direct, which brings growth, but there is a major condition attached. What do they have to let go of?
Emotional responsibility for others.
Oof. I know a few Cancers who carry other people's drama around like it's a heavy backpack.
A backpack they genuinely believe they have to wear. That's the illusion that Saturn is smashing for them. They think, if I don't worry about my partner or my best friend or my adult child, then I'm not loving them. They equate worry with love.
And the forecast is basically saying what?
That worry is not love. Worry is control. You have to put the backpack down. You literally cannot carry someone else's karma for them. It doesn't help them, and it completely crushes you. The text is very blunt about this. Peace must be your priority.
So it's about setting boundaries.
Extreme boundaries. The suggestion is to create a physical list of healthy boundaries and stick to them.
That connects really well to Pisces. It is Pisces season, but Saturn is crashing their birthday party. Their release is the savior complex. How is that different from what Cancer is dealing with?
It's similar, but for Pisces, it's way more existential. Cancer wants to protect the immediate family unit. Pisces wants to save the entire soul of the world. They constantly attract broken birds.
The whole I can fix him energy.
100%. The eviction notice says maturity is required now. You cannot save others at the expense of your own spirit. Sometimes letting someone hit absolute rock bottom is the only way they will ever learn. And Pisces hates that idea. They desperately want to cushion the fall.
But by cushioning the fall, you might actually be preventing the lesson they need.
Exactly. The practical suggestion here is a spiritual reset plan for the new moon on the 18th. It's about reclaiming your own energy. You have to stop leaking your energy into black holes.
Let's move to Libra. The full moon hits their 12th house of the subconscious. What's lurking in the dark for them to release?
People-pleasing peace.
Wait a minute, isn't Libra supposed to be all about peace? Isn't that their whole brand identity?
That is the trap. There is a huge, massive difference between true peace and just keeping everyone quiet. The forecast reminds us that real, genuine peace comes from truth, not from silence.
Wow.
Right. If you are constantly smoothing things over just to avoid a conflict, you aren't actually creating peace. You're creating a lie.
That is a really powerful distinction. Real peace comes from truth.
It suggests literally writing out scripts for hard but necessary conversations. It is terrifying for a natural people pleaser to do this, but it's essential. You have to break the fake silence to build something real.
And finally, for this relational group, we have Gemini. With Mercury retrograde hitting their social sector this month is going to be incredibly noisy for them.
The eviction notice here is superficial connections.
So a focus on quality over quantity.
Yes, Gemini loves to know absolutely everyone. They are the social pollinators of the zodiac. But the retrograde fog is going to show them very clearly which of those connections are real and which are just a drain on their battery.
So if a friendship just feels like a constant distraction,
Delete the number.
Yeah.
Prune the contact list. You need focus for what's coming next, and you simply can't have 20 different group chats draining your energy all day.
okay, we are moving into our final group now. This is the Fire and Air focus, all about identity and self. This honestly feels like the most transformative group because it's not just about what you do or who you know. It's fundamentally about who you are. So Aries, Leo, Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Aquarius.
This is where that concept of radical authenticity we talked about earlier really hits home.
Let's start with Aries. It's their season coming up on the 20th. They have Saturn and Neptune colliding right in their sign. What is the universe asking of the warrior?
To release the need for approval.
Which is super interesting because Aries is usually seen as so bold and fiercely independent. You don't really think of them as needing a gold star from anyone.
They are bold on the outside, but internally they can secretly be very driven by how that boldness is perceived by the crowd. They want the applause. They want to be seen as the conquering hero. The release here is to stop waiting for permission. The exact phrase used in the text is, be the architect of your own destiny.
And the source actually suggests drafting a sovereignty manifesto.
I love that tool so much. It's basically a personal declaration of independence. You decide right now that you are the final authority on your own life. No advisory panels, no polling your friends, just you.
We have Leo, the performers of the zodiac.
Leo is being asked to release the fixed identity, and specifically the serious professional version of themselves.
So the idea that they have to tone their personality down to be taken serious.
Exactly. The corporate mask. Leo often feels they have to completely hide their playfulness or their natural dramatic flair in order to succeed in the real world. The goal this month is to merge their creative fire with their professional goals. Stop compartmentalizing your life. Bring the weird, creative, highly authentic version of you into the boardroom. That is where your true power is right now.
Now let's talk about Scorpio. This one felt really heavy to me when I read it. The release is the wounded warrior narrative.
This is very deep work. Scorpio is going through heavy emotional healing with Saturn and Pisces season. The wounded warrior is essentially the identity of the survivor. It's the mindset of, I am the person who went through this terrible, traumatic thing.
And that is a completely valid identity. It's incredibly hard to let go of something that fundamentally shaped who you are.
It is hard. But the point is that if you hold on to it for too long, it becomes a cage. You start to define yourself entirely by the injury rather than by the healing process. The universe is asking a tough question. Who are you after the survival part is over?
Right.
You are no longer the person who was hurt. Forgiveness here isn't even about letting the other person off the hook. It's a gift to yourself to free up all that stuck energy.
The suggestion for Scorpio is doing a specific release ritual.
Yeah.
Like maybe burning a letter or something.
Yes, anything physical works. Your subconscious mind needs a tangible signal that says chapter closed. The old story ends here today.
Next up is Sagittarius. Jupiter goes direct on the 10th for them.
Sagittarius is the ultimate visionary. Always looking at the far horizon, but their eviction notice is for the distant someday.
Meaning they are always living for the future.
Yes, the underlying belief that real life only starts when I finally move to that new city, or when I get that dream job, or meet that perfect person. I'll be happy when. The notice says, stop waiting. Find actual joy and adventure in the structure of your daily life right now.
The source suggests planning a micro-adventure.
Right, because you don't need a plane ticket to have an adventure. Go to a part of your own city you've never seen before. Eat something totally weird. You have to ground your vision in the present moment. Stop treating your current life like it's just a waiting room for the future.
And finally, we have Aquarius,
Yeah.
the visionary of the collective.
With the whole world shifting into a new era right now, Aquarius really needs to release outdated ideologies.
So letting go of how things used to be.
Yes. Aquarius is a fixed sign. They can actually be surprisingly stubborn about their own ideas of how the future should look. They say, well, this is the plan we made. But the universe is actively changing the rules of the game. They need to use that mid-month stability to review their plans and align with their new intuition, not rely on old logic.
So if we just zoom out for a second and look at this whole cosmic map, from the Virgo perfectionism to the Scorpio wounds to the Aries need for approval, what is the big picture here?
If we connect all the dots, whether it's the savior complex for Pisces or the scarcity mindset for Taurus, the common thread running through all of this is clearing space.
It really is a spring cleaning of the soul.
It is. Think about the methodology we discussed at the very start of the show. The first half of March, with the eclipse and the retrograde fog that is the demolition phase, it's messy, it's uncomfortable, it's loud.
And the second half, equinox, the sun moving into Aries, planets going direct. That is the renovation phase.
Exactly. That is the planting of the new seeds, but
Yeah.
you simply cannot plant new seeds in soil that is full of weeds and chunks of old concrete. You have to do the clearing work first.
It's so tempting to just skip to the fun part, though. To just skip to March 21st and start all the exciting new projects I know I definitely want to.
It is tempting, but it's a huge mistake. If you skip the release phase, you just bring all your old patterns right into the new cycle. Yeah, you'll just be micromanaging your brand new job exactly like a Virgo, or people-pleasing in your shiny new relationship like a Libra. You change the outward scenery, but the internal script remains exactly the same.
That is a haunting thought, honestly. The script remains the same.
It's the cycle we all get stuck in. The source material actually has this beautiful quote that I think summarizes the entire assignment for this month perfectly. It says, the universe isn't asking you to be perfect, it is asking you to be present.
I love that so much.
And it continues. The goal is to stay soft in your heart, but firm in your boundaries. That balance is absolutely everything. You need the firm boundaries to protect your energy during the release, but you need a soft, open heart to actually welcome the new things coming in.
So March 2026 is ultimately a massive redirection. It's bumpy. Eclipses usually are pretty bumpy, but it is getting us where we need to go.
Even if the road feels like a massive detour at the time.
As we wrap this deep dive up, we always like to leave you with something to chew on. We've talked a lot about what the stars say you should release, but we know it's so much harder than just snapping your fingers and saying, okay, I'm done with my trauma now.
It is. It's really heavy lifting. And based on everything we've unpacked today, here is the question we want you to ask yourself. If the universe is handing you an eviction notice for everything that doesn't serve you, what is the one specific thing you are most afraid to let go of today?
And the follow-up, which I think is the real kicker here, why does holding on to that thing feel safer than the freedom of releasing it?
That is the real work of March, figuring out why the cage feels safer than the open sky.
Indeed it is. Good luck with the cosmic deep cleaning, everyone.
Yeah.
We will see you on the other side of the equinox.
Take care.